This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. We are back. Yes, 97.7 KCYP, The City, right here in McAllen, Texas. We are now recording live from the McAllen Creative Incubator. This, ladies and gentlemen, is awesome. This is what we do. We had, of course, a little bit of technical difficulty, but that was worked on by our good friend Tony and Joe. Right back here, we got two. Mark that, two working minds. Me, I'm just the, can't even, whatever. I'm in front of the camera. They're working back there. Just know that. So, been a few weeks off. Had a vacation. Got a new shirt. Look at this. Yeah, Father's Day. Father's Day. Yes, like it. Tony's sporting a real nice shirt back there, too. Okay, guys, listen, I really miss being on here. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Radio Garden, and we're on TuneIn Radio. Right here, right now, live. Now, I'm going to go into our Facebook feed, and I would love to see how many, there we are. I would love to see how many of y'all are out there. Now, I'm going to go in. Got to get this volume down, crank down the volume. I'm cranking it up here. Yeah, crank down the volume, and I'll be looking for comments. Vettel, we got you. Hello, Vettel. Chris Lingoni, got you on. Glad to see you all here. Please pipe in with something if you want to talk about something. I'm not just, here to talk. That I am. But I also want to talk about what you want to talk about. There's a lot out there. We missed 3 weeks, guys. 3 weeks we missed of this show. So I'm going to go with, the usual. We're going to take our economic barometer here by testing the waters in gold. Gold is $2,428 per ounce as of about 3 hours ago, 3 or 4. Silver, ladies and gents, silver is the mover, $31.73. Of course, you're not going to get it for that cheap, but if you're in the market for something solid, something to avoid this, dollar uncertainty, silver might be your thing. And then, of course, my favorite, Bitcoin is at 57,548 Federal Reserve notes, becoming more and more worthless every day, for 1 Bitcoin. Now, again, it's been a while, so I want to refresh your memory. You do not have to buy a full Bitcoin. It's not like you're going to go in for 57 grand and, whatever. I'm not even close to that, guys. You buy 10 here, you buy 15 there, 50 if it's your birthday, whatever. You buy a little bit here, buy a little bit there. And then when it pops, hopefully you've got enough there to take advantage of, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but the downturn of the dollar. Okay, it's a serious consideration here, and it's becoming more serious every day. But you don't have to be scared. This is not fear-mongering, nothing like that. This is just letting everybody know that may not know that, hey, we got some, rocky times ahead in the U.S. dollar, in the realm of that U.S. dollar. So, getting onto and into a great bit of news for the crypto community. This is Reuters, not usually a reliable source of information, but nonetheless, Donald Trump to address Bitcoin 2024 conference on July 27. Wow. The leading candidate for president, dodging bullets from the communists here and there, everywhere. He's going to show up at the Bitcoin 2024 conference. Of course, he's going to be the showcase speaker. So this from Reuters. Trump announced his support for the American Bitcoin industry in May 2024. Advocating for financial freedom and the growth of the U.S. Bitcoin industry on the global stage. Organizers said on the conference website, they described Trump as the event's main headliner. Trump also recently indicated he would like to see more Bitcoin mining by U.S. firms. We want all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA, Trump said on his Truth Social platform in June. That is awesome. Corinne, good to see you. Liana, glad to see you could make it. Awesome. Vettel says, love the shirt. Julio says hello. Hello both to you and Julio Vettel. Thank you. Thank you for the tip on the shirt. I appreciate it. I personally like this. This was a Father's Day gift. My kids are cool. So, Bitcoin.com says this. German government sheds over 3,100 Bitcoin now holds less than 10,000. I'm going to give you both the Bitcoin.com version and my translation of what I believe is going on here. So, Bitcoin.com says, as of 9 a.m. Eastern on Thursday, that's today, Bitcoin was above $59,000, okay? Going back into that $60,000 range, right, where anything can happen. You don't know if it's going to go down or you don't know if it's going to make all-time highs from that point, right? The coins owned by Germany are now worth 587 million. Amidst fluctuations in Bitcoin's value and ongoing wallet divestitures, the German government's strategy adjustments reflect broader economic strategies or urgent fiscal needs. So basically what Bitcoin.com is saying is they're not sure why this movement of Bitcoin by Germany. Now, a couple things I want to point out to you. It's not just Germany moving their Bitcoin. And can we really believe them if they say there's a specific reason? Here's my interpretation of this. The usual suspects, the bad guys, the black hats, the deep state, the international criminal cartel, if you will, they have a stranglehold over most currencies, especially the Federal Reserve note. They print it, they tell you it's worth something, and we have to believe them, right? They can bring it up, they can bring it down by manipulating the gold and silver markets, which they do very well and very often. They don't have that luxury with Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is truly decentralized all over the world. Any computer that is running a Bitcoin mining node has the entire ledger since 2009 on its drive. Okay? What does that mean? It means that the deep state can't fool with it. There's other words. I'm going to use fool with it. Okay? They can't do it. They can't do anything to it. They're powerless against it. Oh, they really, really hate that. Now, why would Germany dump? Obviously now, and I've said this before, it's now considered a Class A asset on your ledger if you are a business, a corporation. So if you have real estate, you have gold, and you have Bitcoin, they're equally valuable in the business world. So again, why would Germany do this? My opinion, on orders. Okay, the German economy and the German government in and of itself is the sock puppet of the deep state, meaning they've been slapped around very often and very hard. Germany is not the place it once was. They've been invaded by invaders like every other country, including ours. But they have massive social upheaval that, of course, you don't see on the news. But the fact of the matter is they're getting rid of it, in my opinion, to bring the price point of Bitcoin down. Why? Because it makes the dollar look better. It makes the Federal Reserve and the IMF look better, right? The World Economic Forum, all those, parasitic places that and people that really hate you. They really do. So, what's next? This is for gamers. Don't know if you're a gamer. I am. In fact, I do have this on my phone. It's a particular game. It's called Tower Defense, right? So, Animoca is the name of the company. Animoca Brands integrates Transact, company name, for simplified tower ecosystem onboarding. All that to say, you can now use this Transact system in their game system that you can have on your phone, and you can purchase their tokens, their crypto. So it's kind of like a mixture of Web 2 that we're all used to. We use it every day. And Web 3, which is crypto and blockchain technology. So what they're doing is they're making it easier, taking just another block, another barrier, hurdle from the average person so that they can better get into these games. I believe personally that the gaming systems, once it ramps up, the blockchain technology, once it ramps up and once it becomes familiar to everyone, blockchain gaming is going to be awesome. I mean, I enjoy gaming right now. Yeah, I'm a geek, right? Old Dungeons and Dragons guy. Anybody out there? You guys come on up. I was playing D&D in the 1980s. In fact, 1980, the original D&D basic. I'm a geek from way back. So I do like gaming. But I'll tell you what, once you're able to literally pay for the game, once you can do well in the game, figure things out in the game, make a little bit of crypto, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, when that happens, when those doors open, I'm telling you, it's going to be a different world in gaming. It might not be something you're going to tell your kids not to do anymore. I'm just guessing. Cointelegraph says Bitcoin price CPI, Consumer Price Index, gains last just 1 hour. So when I mentioned earlier about why Germany was moving their Bitcoin, okay, and I said that there were others moving Bitcoin, I was really referencing this. So what they're saying in Cointelegraph is that since it was inching closer, the price was inching closer to where, hey, anything can happen zone, they needed to bring it back. And Bitcoin quickly erases a trip to 1 week highs. So it was exhibiting highs. They brought it back down. Ladies and gents, you don't have to take my word for this. I don't even ask you to. Look it up if you're interested. But in my opinion, there is all kinds of jackassery afoot in the financial markets. And believe me, they do not like Bitcoin because of the potential to really help you and help me. They don't want us helped. They want us down. Like every other banker crash, like every other banker foolery. They want us on the bottom because that's how they stay on the top. They are parasitic, ladies and gentlemen, and we are the host. Now, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and Trading View showed a rapid but brief Bitcoin price climb to 59.5. So it almost got in there into 60,000s, right? So the mood overall, meanwhile, remained cautious as markets anticipated the start of the distribution of coins. Listen to this, everybody. Another reason this is the other facet, right? The two-pronged thing. One was Germany. This is Mt. Gox. I'll fill you in a second. The start of the distribution of coins belonging to creditors of defunct exchange Mt. Gox. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, having already prefaced this with my D&D bona fides as a geek, I'm going to go back even further and remind you of a great movie called Spinal Tap. If you've ever seen Spinal Tap, then you've seen a rock band try to reenact the aura of Stonehenge. Didn't work out so well. They got the measurements wrong, and it was almost trod upon by a dwarf. That said, this is the kind of thing that Mt. Gox is, meaning Bitcoin lore. Yes, it's only been less than 20 years, but Bitcoin has its back-in-the-day moments. One of those back-in-the-day moments was Mt. Gox. It was an exchange that everybody pretty much, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people trusted. Because back then, remember, you keep your coins on the exchange. What could go wrong? Well, a lot. So Mt. Gox, the exchange, it was hacked. A lot of people lost a lot of crypto. So apparently, much of that was recovered, and the usual suspects have been biding their time, waiting for the opportunity to release these funds. Is this a coincidence? We don't believe in those, do we? No, we don't. We don't believe in coincidences. So what happened then? Let me describe. They are distributing, or perhaps redistributing, returning the stolen funds. Now, as they do this, remember, we're talking about way back. The Wayback Machine, Mt. Gox, was many years ago. That hack. You and I both know how much of a jump in value Bitcoin has made. Let's just say price. Price has just gone up exponentially since that time. Now, let me ask you, if that was 15 years ago and you had maybe $10,000 invested, let's say, and it's worth, I don't even know. I haven't done the math. Probably should have done it prior to the show. But let's just say you got $1 million out there, right? Even easy to understand number. You got $1 million in Bitcoin. We've been through a lot, ladies and gents. The pandemic in 2020. Who knows what may or may not have happened in those intervening times. A lot of people are hurting. Bidenomics has taken a beating on every single family, right? Every time you go to the gas station, you're feeling it. Every time you go to the grocery store, you're feeling it. Your electric bill. Oh, man, right in the shorts. But here's the thing. If People got back that Bitcoin. Most of them are going to cash it out. What does that mean? More liquidity, lower prices at just the right time. Because remember, the bad guys know their system is crashing. They know the Federal Reserve has not a long time. Okay? They are engineering this because if you look back in history, fiat currency never has survived for very long. It is basically the swan song of the US dollar right now. In fact, you will hear pretty soon, I believe, you will hear that for the last year we've been in a recession. What have you heard lately? Denials. No, there's no recession. What are you kidding me? Things are great. Job numbers are great. Everything's fine. Joe Biden is a scholar, genius, all this good stuff that we know isn't true. But what they're going to tell us when the news comes out is that, you know what, we revised the numbers. We look back a little bit and, gee, don't you know, we've been in a recession for about a year now. What comes after a recession, ladies and gents? The D word, yes, and not Democrat. Depression. Depression, ladies and gentlemen. I know, again, I don't want to scare anybody because, you know, here on this show, we're all about preparation, right? Land if you got it, got the money for it. Gold, silver, Bitcoin. Again, my favorite's Bitcoin. That's me, preference, right? But you can prepare yourself. We don't have to go under this time. We have places, venues, shows like this that are telling people this message. Do you have to listen? Do you have to believe? Absolutely not. You do what's right for you and your family. That's what is right. What you believe is right because in your heart and in your mind, you are the arbiter of truth. No one else. Do not ever give that up, especially to mainstream media. So, Reuters again. More stuff about the economy. Jeff Bezos to sell Amazon shares worth about $5 billion after stock hits record high. You be the judge. Is Bezos doing this because, well, he just wants to make money and take some profits? Or is he doing it because he knows that nobody's going to be buying off of Amazon when the system goes down? Whether that be an actual, crash of the dollar, Federal Reserve note, one and the same, right? Or perhaps some other things that I'll be mentioning later based on, some, how would you say, events that have occurred both politically and geopolitically. Back in a minute with that. So here's the thing. When I search stocks being sold, did a little search. Stocks being sold in lieu of a crash, something like that, right? Something like that. I can't remember the exact key phrase was. But I put it into the Brave browser, I don't, of course, use the keyword, but what I put it in, and I can't remember exactly, maybe start page. I don't know. But when I put it in, what was the very first return? The very first return. If you know this kind of chicanery, you're going to know. Snopes, a criminal and a porn star put together Snopes. And so fitting that the deep state would use it as their fact checker on almost everything, right? So what we have, basically, is a cover-up job by Snopes. That's their job. That's their shtick, right? So they, of course, tell us that they're nothing. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here, right? That's what their job is. Now, I happen to subscribe to X. It used to be Twitter with Elon Musk. Quite a transformation has been undertaken there at X, but I digress. So they have an AI. Everybody's got an AI now, right? It's called Grok. So I tend to use it more than I use search engines nowadays because the algorithms on the search engines, and it's bad enough in AI, I know, you don't have to tell me that, but the algorithms on the search engines throttle any reliable information, or at the very least, let me say this, it will throttle free information, meaning in the libertarian sense, not, the information that comes without cost. I'm saying the free flow of information is basically throttled to maximum effect on Google and its cohorts, right? By design. How do you engineer a society without a stranglehold on the information or the sources of information. You just can't. So they've known this from way back. So the Grok prompt I used was, what is the current narrative? And this is going into, I'm segueing here. Okay, perhaps not smoothly. But what I'm saying is the narratives are very much in play right now. So I asked Grok, what is the current narrative that the Biden administration wants us to believe? So what Grok does as an AI platform, it basically takes all of the tweets, used to be tweets, now they're posts, whatever you want to call them on X, takes them, experts or even people like me, average, person, right? Whatever. So it takes all of this data, and I'm sure there's some other stuff mixed in there because they do have to censor, because that's, they're still a social media company. So all of that, the totality of that formula, algorithm, structure, whatever you want to call it, that formula comes up with a structured response in its AI platform, Grok. So the response was this: the current narrative that the Biden administration wants us to believe is that President Biden is capable of leading the country effectively and is the best candidate to defeat former President Donald Trump in the 2024 election. This narrative is supported by the administration's emphasis on Biden's experience, his ability to handle international relations, and his efforts to address domestic issues such as the economy and healthcare. Now, I would imagine that if there was a microphone anywhere near this AI, it would have laughed probably throughout the whole statement, because while that narrative is indeed what I expected, insofar as a narrative serves the Biden administration, I also happen to know that it's false on all counts. And anyone who has any ability to digest information, especially in the last year or so, knows this to be true also. So here's where I'm going. Whenever we think there's a certain movement, either in politics, the economy, or in this case, the presidential race, I guess that falls under politics, right? We have to remember that there are competing narratives. And I bring all this up for this reason. The narratives on the Democrat side are not just heating up. They are at volcanic levels. Why? Because the deep state actors, they're in both. Please believe me, if you will, and look it up if you don't. The Republican Party is just as bad. But speaking of the Democrat Party, because they are in a shambles, Joe is everything that we thought he was and isn't, right? We know he's not a thinker anymore. We know he's not someone who can, contain his bowels anymore. We know that he's someone that can't walk up steps anymore, okay? And for a very long time, the usual suspects were denying all of this. In fact, they were kind of like COVID cures during the pandemic. You couldn't put out the cures. You couldn't mention the name of them. You couldn't do anything of that sort because, like me, I got banned, right, from every place that I tried to tell people what legitimate treatments were all about. They couldn't have that because of the bioweapon that they were pushing. So where I'm going with this is there are very powerful factions of the Democrat side that are going to push Joe out. If you don't believe me, well, then you're just not paying attention. And in my opinion, and this is just me, who am I, right? My opinion, whoever owns Barack Hussein Obama, okay, there, ladies and gentlemen, lies the key. Why? Because Obama doesn't want Joe anymore. Obama is going to be the mover and the shaker behind the ousting of senile Joe. Don't have to take my word for it. I'm just a guy with a crazy shirt and a beard from a vacation. Nothing more. But if you've been paying attention, you will understand that this theory has credence, bona fides, perhaps not. Credence, most definitely, as the dude would say. Now, I did another grok, if that's a word. And I prompted this. Why do Democrats want to remove Joe Biden? Pretty innocuous, right? The response was this. Based on the provided context, there are several reasons why some Democrats have expressed a desire to replace Joe Biden as the party's nominee for the 2024 presidential election. And it gave me 6. Debate performance concerns. Now, they're pretending like they didn't know Joe was, a candidate for a hockey helmet. They knew that this guy should be wearing a mouth guard at all times. But still, they didn't say anything. They didn't, they wanted to hide it. But now, because again, those movers and those shakers behind the scenes, they're moving and shaking. Finally, the dam is beginning to break. Okay, that little hole, there's not enough fingers out there to cover the holes now. Okay, age and health concerns. Well, they didn't know how old the guy was. They didn't know his health status. I mean, the guy refuses to take a cognitive test. Shouldn't that tell him something? Of course it does. But now the emperor has no clothes and everyone's realizing it and they got to move and shake. Political strategy. There's a little subheading here. Some Democrats may see replacing Biden as a strategic move to improve the party's chances in the general election against former President Donald Trump. Let me put the op spin on it. This is the Bitcoin Otter. No one else. I'm not bringing anybody else into the jackpot. Okay? Nobody, including the guys behind the camera. Tony, don't worry about it. I'm not bringing you into my jackpot. This is just me. Just me. I believe that the fact of the matter is they know that they can't bring in truckloads, just monumental, huge loads of ballots anymore with Joe. It's got to be at least, they've got to get some votes. This guy's not going to get any. Maybe he'll get those people who have, like glazed over eyes as they watch the 6 o'clock, the 5 o'clock, the 10 o'clock news. Maybe those people, they haven't got out of their couch, in years. Maybe those people will vote for him. But I'll tell you what, they're losing the black vote. They're losing the Hispanic vote. They're losing all the minorities you can imagine. Why? Because they're inviting the invaders. They're inviting people who are basically reaping the rewards of those of us who have worked. Those of us who have put into these security nets designed for our society, for those unfortunate poor people in our society that need them. Well, you know what? The open invitation is working. And people are coming from all over the world to steal those funds. So the people who really do need them, those who are marginalized, if you will, if you're into that term, that old terminology, those are the people that are suffering most, as is usual. As is usual, whenever there's a Bolshevik sort of insurrection, the people that feel it first are the poor people, right? Who does high egg prices, dairy prices, gas prices, who does that hurt most? Who does it hurt first? The people who are not doing well economically. Okay? Joe's not going to get the votes. Certainly not enough for them to put on a steal. They're not going to be able to steal this one. They got to move. They got to do something. Internal discontent. Even Democrats are pissed at the guy. And not because we are. Public perception. Biden's approval ratings have been relatively low, which may have contributed to the desire among some Democrats to find a different candidate who could potentially be more popular. Are you kidding me? Charles Manson would be more popular than this guy. Desire for a fresh face. Oh, they're going to get that. They're going to get that in spades, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to break for just a minute, and I'm going to go over what my radio mentor, Joe, has taught me. So we're going to go back over where you're watching us, where you're listening to us. 97.7 KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas. Okay, we're out on YouTube. We're out on Facebook and TuneIn Radio app and the Radio Garden app. Okay, the Bitcoin Otter Show. That's me. Yeah, likeness, I guess. Anyway, the Bitcoin Otter Show also goes out on Facebook and YouTube, right? On my personal one, Christopher Ott, and the Bitcoin Otter Facebook page. Glad to be here. I had to do that. Now, digging back into the business, as it were. Those of us who are in the know, we have known since 2018, 2020, we'll be conservative. We've known since 2020 that there was going to be a change of batter. If you want to know, and I won't go into it because, again, we're on Facebook. Who knows what's going to happen, but I will fill you in on all the details. Hit me up on bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll give you all the information I have. You decide whether you believe it or not. But the term is a change of batter. So, yes, I do believe that there will be a change of batter. 1. 2. What did Donald Trump say when the saber rattling of the usual suspects was clamoring for him to be ousted, and they were going to use the 25th Amendment to do so? Now, of course, it was nowhere near to being applicable, but, in the two-tiered justice system that we have today, it doesn't really matter, does it? But what did Donald Trump say? What did the boss say? He said, you know what? I'm not the one who should be worried about the 25th Amendment. Joe Biden should be worried about the 25th Amendment. I'm telling you, a lot of people don't think that Donald Trump is smart. But I'll tell you what, he's smart as a fox. It's worth noting that not all Democrats, this is again Grok, not all Democrats support the idea of replacing Biden, and any attempt to do so would likely face significant challenges. Yeah, whatever, Grok, whatever. So, where I'm going with all this, how should I say, narrative building is just this. We are going to have an upheaval, not just in this country, in our world. I've been telling you before, and you don't have to listen to me, just do a little bit of research. The usual suspects are going to do whatever it takes to retain power. The steal is just about out of the question. They cannot do what has been done before. Not effectively, anyway. They could probably do it, but it'll be obvious to everyone, and then we'll have another storming of the Bastille, if you will. So they're not probably going to go that way. What else can they do? What's in their bag of tricks? They've done a pandemic once. Why not try it again? They could conjure up another Fauci at any point in time. Another, one of their labs there in Ukraine, the Pentagon admitted to 45 bio-warfare weapons labs. So, there's probably about 90. Just double up, what the government says, and usually that's a little closer to the truth. Now, this narrative building is only going to become more intense, okay? As we get closer to the election, we are going to see, we are going to hear, we are going to witness and experience turmoil. But I'm here to tell you, if you're willing to listen and believe, no guarantee. No guarantee on any of this stuff. I personally don't own a crystal ball, and I don't see any crystal balls here in the studio. I don't believe Joe has any crystal balls in the studio. No way of auguring the future. And we don't attempt to do that. What we are doing is using history, historical context, and a little bit of leaked, I won't say classified information, but information that not everyone is privy to. Why are they not privy to it? Because they're conditioned not to believe anything unless it comes from the news. That's why. I'm not smarter than anybody else. On the contrary, I just happen to know where to look. And then when you put it to the test, gee whiz, it came true. Right? Future proves past. If someone writes something and it comes true, and that happens often enough, you got to start going down the line and checking off the marks that mean it's not coincidence. This is me. You don't have to believe what I believe. In fact, that's what America is all about. You are you, I'm me, you do you, I'll do me. Now, all this to say that the usual suspects are going to do many things, especially in this election cycle. But one of those is they're going to try and bring us to war. It's just a fact, okay? There's a great guy out there, Gerald Celente. Much wiser than me, a little bit older than me, smarter than me, I am what I am. I am who I am. I'm just doing my thing, trying to help everybody out. But this guy's been on this stuff. Trends Research is the name of his business. Gerald Celente can also be found on Rumble. They might have kicked him off already on YouTube. But one of his favorite phrases is, when all else fails, they're going to bring us to war. And it's so very true. That's what they've done. When all else fails, they're going to bring us to war. Again, I can give you historical accounts as to why this happened, but some of them are so politically sensitive right now. And please don't take this as a cop-out, okay? This is, if you've been following all these items, these subjects, you got to know that there's some things you just can't say on Facebook and still have a show on Facebook. You can't say certain things or do certain things on YouTube and still have a YouTube channel, okay? At some point, I'm going to cross that line. But I don't want to do that right now. I want to stay where I'm at because there's enough people that are watching that make this worthwhile. I make no money off of this. In fact, this costs me money, but I consider it an investment. This is my thing. Now, back to the narrative. As these narratives heat up, they're going to want to gin up panic and fear. Please don't let that happen to you and your family. There's no need for it because we've been warned, we've been told that this is what's going to happen. Okay? Let's put it to the test. The change of batter. Back to that. Do you really believe that they're going to try and drag Joe Biden over the finish line? I don't. Maybe they will, but I don't think they will. So now, everyone who has a thinking mind is trying to figure out, okay, who's going to be the one? Who are they going to replace? Well, the natural one, the legal replacement would be Kamala Harris. Yeesh, have you seen polls on Ms. Harris? Now, I can see her doing an interim thing because it's, legality and all that. It'd be easy for them just to, throw her up there in a time of need. And they'll probably have to pull her back, just as quickly as Crazy Joe because she gets into those word salads. Not pretty, So I think that's probable. But is she going to be the candidate? Is she going to be who people, granted misguided people, will vote for in 2024 November? No. I don't believe that. You might. What do I think is going to happen? Well, there's a myriad of possibilities, right? But I think it's going to be along the line of sneaking one in. Okay? Yes, I'm using key phrases for those of you who are in the know. You know where I'm going with this. So they're going to try and sneak one in. What do I mean by one? One of the usual suspects. A heavy hitter, if you will. Well, what about Newsom, Otter? What about Newsom? Well, here's where I don't think Newsom would be a good fit. One, he runs a communist organization. I mean, say what you will about California, and it is pretty much, in my opinion, the most beautiful geographical location in this country. I mean, you got beaches, you've got mountains, you've got deserts, you've got everything in California. It's beautiful, forests, just beautiful. It's just the politics that are really, really bad. It's oppressive, literally oppressive. So I don't think it's going to be Newsom for that reason. I don't think he's going to garner the votes, not even close to what they're going to need. And two, let's think of things in the paradigm of now, okay? We've been forced into this artificial mode of thinking, this DEI mode of thinking. Do you think it would look good, especially for those people that have fostered all this insanity? Would it look good for them, okay, to oust, in the previous case where I already mentioned, they're going to get rid of Grandpa Joe, Crooked Joe, whatever. They're going to get rid of him. So Kamala Harris comes in. You think the usual woke crowd is going to accept a white male kicking out Kamala Harris? You think? Hell no. Hell no. A woman of color? A woman? Now, I know there's a very big disability that certain woke crowd has, which is to actually define a woman. I know. But they're going to call her a woman, and she's definitely a woman of color. Now, she's not African American, we know that. But at the same time, she's a woman of color, and she's a woman. You think a white guy? You think they're going to put in, what's his name, Newsom? And that's going to work? No. So I'm going to do this, ladies and gents. Maybe I demurred on pushing the envelope a little bit earlier, but I'm going to push it a little bit right now. And I'm going to give you my 5-star, that's 10, 5-star pick. Okay? I think Big Mike's going to be the guy, the gal, Michelle Obama. I really do. Now the optics are going to be really good. Right now, the optics and the narrative, again, remember, the narrative generation. The narrative is already building up. Oh, I don't want anything to do with politics, she says. Okay? Been interviews, been, probing questions. No, I don't see me ever running for politics, political office, or the White House. I'm paraphrasing. But she's very much playing it off. But again, I believe these to be optics. Because many of us believe that it was Barry running the things behind the Biden show. It was an Biden administration. Now, Biden, he knows what's going to happen if he gets ousted. He knows that either he goes full. Those of you who have seen certain movies know where I'm going to go with this. Full senile, or, he's going to face justice because of, just the overwhelming amount of criminal activity of the Biden crime family. He knows he doesn't want that. He wants to retain power. But the powers that be are like, Joe, you got to go. Right? So I personally believe, and I'm going to say that this is my guess, right? Now, could I be wrong? Of course, I'm not saying that, I'm definitely right here. We might even have a duality there, a duo of females. Maybe they'll bring in the battle axe, Hillary Clinton, right? Maybe Hillary will come in as the interim VP, right? And that's how they're going to sneak one in, right? They're going to give it to her, right? She was supposed to have it when Trump stormed onto the scene, and we voted for him. The proverbial we, the royal we. So who knows what's going to happen? But I just don't see a guy like Newsom being able to go in there and just, have an effect, have an impact, simply because of the demographics. The guy's pasty, man. Just saying. That's just what I'm saying. Guy with a beard and a great Father's Day gift. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think it'll be him. You want to pipe up? You want to tell me who you think it is? I'm waiting. I'm ready. Whoever you might want to guess on, I'm willing to do it. Now, I'm not seeing many more comments, and again, I'm not saying that we always get a ton of interaction, but we usually do. So maybe we're being scaled back a little bit, maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? That said, if you've got any opinions, if you've got any, interest in this kind of subject matter, please hit me up. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I will answer. I promise. I'll send you down a rabbit hole or two, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to have your eyes open one way or another. And I look forward to your research coming back and you saying, hey, did you know this? And many times I'll say, no, I didn't know that. Thanks for filling me in. And then I'll look it up and I'll be able to figure out, okay, I'll connect this dot to that dot. And, we work up. We weren't there. We didn't say the words. We didn't hear the words. So we can't be eyewitnesses. But, we can use these brains. Guys like me, I'm not institutionalized. I haven't, I have no degrees. There's a reason why they call them degrees. And because institutions need to have a degree of a measurement, in this case, degrees, like temperature. So degrees of institutionalization, right? And yes, I'm in this alone. This is my jackpot. I'm not calling anyone into this. But this, over time, is what I have learned. Why? Because as I have found out, and this was startling to me, maybe to you it will be, maybe it won't, throughout history, the most vulnerable subsection of society to propaganda has always been the intellectuals. Well, wait a minute, Otter, aren't they the smartest? They do. They say that, don't they? They say that they're the smartest. Well, why is it that the intellectual subset of any society is almost always, or always, I'll go all in, always the most vulnerable to propaganda, especially state-run propaganda? Why is that? Well, it's rooted in the need, the desire, sometimes insatiable desire, for approval. When does it start? I wager preschool. I'd say preschool, kindergarten. Johnny's a sharp kid, man. Johnny does good. Teacher gives him attention. Gives him, kudos. Johnny, you did great today. Johnny, you've got good grades. Hey, Johnny, I got a star for you. See, I got a star in my book. Johnny is a smart kid, but he also realizes that, wait a minute, I think I'm good at something. I'm good at academics, and I'm good at, and they don't quite articulate this in their thought process at that age. And some, even as, integers more intelligent than me, they're still haven't come to that moment when they've awakened to the fact that the real goal of state-run education is to have the subjects regurgitate the conditioning, the program. The more you regurgitate, the more you are able to accurately receive and respond in the same vein of the programming, the higher you go, the further you will travel. Okay? And they learn this quickly. We all learn this to some degree or another. As you diverge from the mainstream, you are being taught, maybe imagine a switch on the back of a donkey or something. You're being taught to come back in. You're being brought back to the reservation because they don't want you out here. Okay? This is why they're coming against, farmers in Idaho, cutting off water supplies to farmers in Idaho. Just one example just came to my mind, right? The more you try to get out of the mainstream, the more they're going to forcibly try to bring you back into it. What methods do they use? Well, in school, you grades. They're going to dock you if you don't agree. So you could be writing a paper on a book that you read. If your opinion or your theory or summary of the book diverges from that of we'll jump to university. That of the professor, especially at university. Ooh, man, you could find yourself on the outs real quick. Again, my shadow has never darkened the doorway of any institution of higher learning. Gotta warn you of that. Unless it was a kegger. I mean, I went to a few of those dorms, kind of thing. But that said, while I don't have immediate experience from this, I have talked to a lot of highly educated people. I love to talk to everyone. So the method is normally a regression in grades, which means a lot in college. I mean, they have those magna cum laude and all those things for a reason. I mean, they have so many people going after those in my opinion, not all that valuable monikers. So these people are going after this goal. They're going after this brass ring. And the more people you go after that brass ring, the more, frenzied they're going to be after it. And the more susceptible, again, we come to susceptibility, vulnerability to propaganda. Okay? So while I say all these things, what I mean in coming back to the subject at hand is that we can't go too far afield in our choice of presidential nomination. In my opinion, Donald Trump was recruited by the good guys, okay, patriots who were mounting a counterinsurgency. My opinion, again, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll answer you. So Donald Trump was popular. Donald Trump, before he came down that escalator, 2016, he was a popular guy. People of every color. I don't use race because I don't believe that's accurate. I'm a Bible believer, as you might already know. We're one blood, one person. I don't believe in the monkey thing, right? One blood, two parents. So whatever color you are, you probably like Donald Trump. And if you didn't, well, you were again listening to the usual suspects throw out information that you consumed. But many of us, if we are very much conditioned to the mainstream, I don't want to get too far afield, but as the conditioning becomes more and more prevalent, the time goes more and more deeply into your age, your lifespan, the chances that you're going to break out of it are a lot less. Let me use an analogy here. If you've seen the movie The Matrix, now again, that was 1999, and you remember when Morpheus watched as Neo was brought into reality from the Matrix. So they deconnected the thing, they disconnected it, boom, 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 all the fluids went down. Wow, he's on the Nebuchadnezzar. He's on a ship that they were in the real world, right? Morpheus told him, you're the oldest person that I've brought out of the Matrix. Why? Because in the story, and I believe it was, the likeness of the storyline very much jives with real life, in my opinion. As a person gets older and as their thought process moves on, it gets cemented, the edges of it, perhaps, not in all cases, stiffen. They become more rigid. And they're less likely to jump into a different field or a different thought process. So if someone is going to be awakened in this time frame, and ladies and gentlemen, they will be. They will be. We need to be there for them. We need to be able to supply some answers to them. We need to be able to tell them, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. We're with you. We can't abandon them. We've got family, we've got loved ones, friends, neighbors. We're not going to abandon them. We need to be the good guys. And I know you are. I know you are. And I thank you for watching today. I thank you not only for watching, I thank you for commenting. You can watch this at a different date. Please comment. I watch these things, I look at them, and I make sure that I respond. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this show that, we've been off 3 weeks. And I really do appreciate any interaction you have. And to me, the biggest thing is that we speak, we interact, because we're Americans. We're free. Still, we're free to do this. Thank God. Thank God. So I will pray for all of you. I will do my best to be my best. And I ask that you do your best for you and your family. Thank you. Have a great day. And God bless you. Thanks, guys.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so